think the associate countries have really stepped up at this tournament. I've been thrilled with the way that they've performed. They've possibly exceeded some expectations, probably not their own expectations, but we've had upsets. I was at Nelson and I watched Ireland beat the West Indies very early in the tournament, and that was a really memorable moment for me. Afghanistan having their first win over Scotland. So there's, I think they've done tremendously well. I think there's a lot of pressure probably going to go on the ICC around the format of the next World Cup, because I think the associates have made a very strong statement at this World Cup. I certainly wouldn't want to be bowling to them now, that's for sure. Again, it's tremendous, it's exciting, it's positive. I think there have been some very good tweaks made to the playing conditions that have meant that we are seeing more runs being scored. It's a very fine line between getting the balance right between the batsman dominating too much. As an ex-bowler, at times I might think that, it's gone a little bit too far. The fielding restrictions, boundary sizes, maybe particularly here in New Zealand where we've got smaller grounds, the bats, the quality of the pitches, it's all sort of loaded up in favour of the batsman. What's been, I think, particularly exciting to me in this tournament is that we've seen the bowlers who swing the ball doing a very good job and winning games for their teams, and that I think has helped keep the balance between bat and ball. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. But what it means is that teams have to attack. They have to attack for 50 overs. There's no more containing or attempting just to bowl back of a length and top of off, because the fielding restrictions and the fact that the ball is so hard for so long now, it just simply means that the ball's going to get it to the boundary. So captains have to innovate. They've got to be a little cleverer in their tactics. They've got to change things around, and bowlers have to be very adept, I guess, at and flexible in the way that they plan an over. They've got to have lots of variations now as well. So, yeah, the game has absolutely moved on. Oh, look, I've said right from the start that the two host countries would be in the semis. I'd still expect that to be the case. I think New Zealand just have maybe a couple of little tweaks they need to make, or concerns. A couple of their middle order guys haven't quite had enough time in the middle, so I think they possibly might be a little bit exposed in that respect. As a bowling unit, they're playing very well, and they've got great fieldsmen. Australia are a very good package. We saw last night against Sri Lanka. Gee whiz, they did look a good team. But in saying that, once again, they went for over 300 runs. I would absolutely fully expect India to be in the semis. And South Africa as well. But we're going to watch with interest actually how South Africa go in their quarterfinal, because they have tripped up before, a little bit like New Zealand when it comes to quarterfinals and semi-finals. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I think there is scope to tweak the format in some way. I haven't come up with any sort of ideal format in my own mind, but it is a very long tournament, and I think we've been very lucky in the way the tournament's progressed to date, where we've actually had most games have been quite exciting in their own right, and we haven't had a patch of games where there've been massive mismatches or rain affected and where you lose the momentum. So we've managed to keep the tempo of the tournament pretty high the whole way through. It'll be interesting this next week once we get a feel for who the quarterfinalists are, whether the public sort of dial off a little bit. There is scope, I think, to shorten it up, but I know also, working in the logistics area, that from a travel point of view, and you've got to give teams the ability to rest and to prepare and to have their trainings and that. You can't just ram the playing days down their throat, or something's going to break. So, somewhere in the middle there's an answer there. If we could abbreviate it and lose a week somewhere, I think it would help. Yeah, look, this is a very good Indian team. I knew in my heart that they've got World Cup pedigree, and I knew that they'd end up peaking towards the back end of this tournament, and it just seems that is the way. Their batsmen speak for themselves. They're classy, they will consistently put something close to 300 on the board when the conditions are in their favour. So it's been the bowling that's been my real point of interest, and I've been really impressed. They're running in a lot harder, and they're hitting the deck more, and they're a very challenging bowling unit. But I do think the thing that is taking it to another level is the fielding, and some of the fielding displays I've seen from the Indian team have been fantastic. They're full of energy and intensity, and at the end of the day, to win a World Cup, I think, if you're not going to be the best fielding team in the tournament, you're going to be very close to being the best. So whatever team wins it, must have a great fielding unit. Yes, I do. If New Zealand were to get anywhere close to winning a World Cup, they need Brendon to be firing pretty much the whole way through. That's a massive ask, I have to say. So again, we're all going to watch that with interest. He's done some extraordinary things in the last couple of years for New Zealand, and I'm actually almost a little bit in awe of what he's achieved. Some of his innings, you just have to pinch yourself and ask yourself, did I actually see that? So he's an outstanding player, but to me though, to win a World Cup, you need a team of 11 guys that are doing the job. You need your match winners like Brendon, but you need all 11 contributing at some stage.